Slavin, that's spelled Magggie, Slavin, Slavin, and I'm the operations manager for CAIR-Chicago. Thank you so much for being with us this morning as we stand in support and in solidarity of these Chicagoland families who have experienced unimaginable suffering and heartbreak. The ongoing conflict in Gaza and its devastating impact on innocent civilians cannot be divorced from the broader global context and its consequences for Muslim communities and Muslim families here in the U.S. and the Chicagoland area. While our hearts go out to all those who are affected by the conflict, it's essential to recognize that the repercussions of this conflict extend far beyond the borders of Gaza, and they are felt deeply within our own communities. The families that stand with us here today are Nabil, Muhammad, Yasmin, Will, and Reem, and we are also joined by 2 doctors in our community, Dr. Thadet and Dr. Yasser, to hear their stories. So first I'd like to call up Nabil.
Can you find Nabil's posters? We should bring it a little closer, correct? Can we do that? So that we can point? Okay,
My name is Nabil Al-Sharafa, N-A-B-I-L, last name A-L-S-H-U-R-A-F-A. My name is Nabil. I'm a medical researcher in the Chicagoland area. I'm married to the love of my life, and I'm a dad of 3 amazing children. I have beautiful memories of Gaza. In the summer of '98, I went to summer camp where my uncles taught me the most beautiful dance, the Palestinian death count. But right now, I can't imagine dancing. 12 of my immediate family members are in Gaza. Right now, while Israel continues bombing homes, hospitals, schools, churches, and mosques. We've had over 100 family members killed by Israeli airstrikes, and the rest are now living outside by the sea in the cold. These are just a few of them. The beautiful 5-year-old Yusuf, who's over there in the far right, or your left. My wife's first cousin. He was born the same month as my first daughter, Naya. Little Yusuf is now in great danger because Israel forced his family to evacuate, and they're home now, evacuate their home, and they're actually homeless. My uncle owned the most beautiful hotel, according to many in Gaza. This is the Roots Hotel before. And he poured his heart and soul into this hotel, and Israel bombed it to smithereens. And this is a photo of the aftermath. My uncles and aunts are going in circles right now, looking for shelter and clean water to give to my little cousin Seven. He just turned 1, and they're all now living on the street by the water. Israel bombed their home and all the water filtering stations. My job is in preventive medicine, to help people improve their quality of life, prevent disease and death, to have healthy food habits. But I can't even save my own family in Gaza because we don't know if they'll die from Israeli airstrikes or from starvation or disease. So I'm here to call on Governor Pritzker and Congressman Sean Casten to meet with us to help save our families' lives and to call for a ceasefire now. I'm asking every Chicagoan, every American, to please call your governor, call your representative, to call for a ceasefire now to save our beautiful family. Thank you.
My name is Mohammed, M-O-H-A-M-A-D. My name is Mohammed, and I'm a food food blogger. My dream was to someday take my blog to Gaza, where my family lives, but Israel has destroyed that dream. Like me, my cousin Yasmin loved to bake. She was also a great mom of 4 kids, and she was an optometrist. An Israeli airstrike killed her, 2 of her kids, her husband, her sister, her mother, and her in-laws with their kids. 13 innocent people in one airstrike. Yazan was one of Yasmin's kids, 8 years old, and he was buried under the rubble of an Israeli airstrike with his mom. Maslama was Yazan's cousin and best friend. He was full of joy, love, and hugs. They were inseparable, even in death, both killed by the same Israeli airstrike. The tragedy and the irony is that Israeli bomb that killed Yasmin, Yazan, and Maslama was made in America, using my tax dollars. My family was middle class, doctors, lawyers, business people, and now they're living on the streets because Israel destroyed their homes. I'd like to ask Mayor Johnson, you've heard our stories. Why have you not met with Palestinian families? Why haven't you called for a ceasefire which could save my family's life? Thank you.
My name is Yasmin Ella. That's YASMENELAGHA. My name is Yasmin, and I'm a Chicago law student. In the past 3 months, Israel has killed nearly 120 members of my family. Many of my family members who survived the Israeli airstrikes are now living in the streets, dying of cold and hunger, including my 81-year-old relative Jawdat, who froze to death in a displaced camp just a few days ago. Even when my family, who are Americans, try to get water and food, they are shot at by Israeli airstrikes. They are shot at by Israeli tanks. So Palestinians have a choice of dying of hunger and starvation or being killed by Israeli tanks. My Uncle Man is mentally disabled. He's suffering from debilitating seizures and convulsions. Israeli tanks have shot at my cousins as they tried to access his life-saving medication. My 86-year-old grandfather is an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he is a diabetic. My grandmother has high blood pressure, and she is also a diabetic. Israel is denying them their basic medication. No member of my family is safe right now because Israel shuts down phone service for hours so no one can call 911. Israel has bombed over 300 schools, including my cousin Hashim and Burak's university. They have killed 200 teachers, including my 7-year-old cousin Tuqa's teacher. So my cousins have not attended school for approximately 90 days now. I feel betrayed by President Biden, by Governor Pritzker, and by Congressman Sean Casten, who have never once called to meet with my family or offered their assistance. The only way for my family to survive the death, the destruction, the hunger, and the disease that Israel has subjected 2.3 million Palestinians to is to call for a ceasefire now. I'm asking every Illinois resident, every American with a conscience, to please peacefully protest, to shut down our highways, to continue shutting down our train stations until Congressman Sean Casten votes for a ceasefire that can save my family and millions of innocent Palestinian lives. Thank you.
Illiam-Asfour. I'm a 26-year-old county auditor here in Cook County. 209 members of my family have been killed by Israeli bombs. People I know, people I love, people who have nothing to do with October 7th, some as young as 3 months old. Nothing breaks my heart more than what Israel did to my 12-year-old cousin, Yusuf. This is little Yusuf before he was hit by an Israeli bombing. And this is him after, which left him in critical condition, which also killed his father, his uncles, and his cousins. To be clear, Israel has either wounded or killed members of my family in 2008, 2012, 2014, 2021, before previous assaults on Gaza. This is all long before October 7th. All of my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents' houses have been destroyed by Israeli airstrikes, as you can see on the poster here. That was my grandfather's house, where I used to play, where I grew up, before it was destroyed by Israeli airstrikes. So Israel bombed my mom's cousin Yasser's house, killing him, his mother, and his children. None of the kids had anything to do to deserve any Israeli bombs. As you can see here, this was a leader of our family and the community. And right here, a Israeli bomb targeted the shelter of him, his son, his grandchildren were staying at, killing 8 of them, 6 of whom were children, their mother, and 1 elder. Just when you think it can't get worse, I found out my surrounding family, all their homes are destroyed, are staying outside in tents in the cold, in the rain. They have no food, they have no water, they have no hygiene products. Israel is not allowing enough aid trucks in. So I'm asking Governor Pritzker to help me save my family and other 2 million Palestinians who face starvation and disease. I have a message for my Congressman, Sean Casten. You represent the largest community of Palestinians in the U.S. We are your constituents, and we want you to demand Israel gets held accountable and to save our families. Governor Pritzker, you represent the largest population of American Muslims than any other state. Please step in to help my family and other Palestinian families here. Thank you.
My name is Reem El-Masri, R-E-E-M, El-Masri, E-L-M-A-S-R-I.
Family, can you help her with the posters?
My name is Reem, and my family has been in Gaza for over 500 years. Over 100 members of my family have been killed by Israeli airstrike and snipers in the past few months. My cousin Hadil, she was doing fun kids activities at Onowa School, where they thought it's a safe place when an Israeli airstrike killed her. My cousin Maher, who is disabled, he was trying to get clean water to drink when he was killed by an Israeli airstrike. My other cousin beside him in the picture, he went to help him and he was shot and killed by an Israeli sniper. This is my cousin Jamil, and he loved making perfumes. He had his own perfume shop. Everyone loved him. He was killed by an Israeli airstrikes while he's just sitting in his home. I can't tell you every single story, but I can tell you that I now have 4 brothers and 3 sisters and the kids who may be killed in any minute if Israel doesn't stop bombing. My brother Rabah, in the first picture, he's kind, wonderful father, and PhD student studying engineering. I'm asking Congressman Sean Casten to help get him, his wife, and kids out to safety before they are killed by Israeli bombs. My brother Umar, in the second picture here, and his wife, and a new baby born, Leah, and their daughter Tia, may not survive because Israel is not allowing enough food. or water or milk to get in. I'm asking Governor Pritzker to help get them out before they die out of hunger or diseases. My brother Ahmed and his wife had a nice apartment, but they are now living on the cold street in a tent with little or no food or water. He got very sick lately, and we don't know what will happen if he needs emergency medical care because Israel has shut off most emergency services. My sister Maryam, she's a public school teacher with 7 kids. She hasn't been able to teach or work because Israel has bombed most school, and kids haven't been able to go to school for 3 months. Sean Caston, you are my congressman. Please call for an immediate ceasefire and save what's left of my family. Thank you.
Hello all, my name is Dr. CAIR-Chicago. First name is T-H-A-E-R, last name is A-H-M-A-D. I'm an emergency medicine physician on the south side of Chicago, and I want to speak about the healthcare system that has collapsed in Gaza. Only 13 out of 36 hospitals are partially functioning. We are 3 times over capacity. That means that Palestinians are in every nook and cranny of the hospital. There are no antibiotics, there is no anesthesia, there are no supplies. So they sit and wait and die. As overwhelmed healthcare workers, like myself, over 300 of whom have already been killed in Israeli airstrikes, struggle to try to care and do what they can for their patients. There are 300,000 kids under the age of 5 in Gaza, 300,000 Palestinian kids, all of whom are at risk of starvation, severe malnutrition, and death. Those 300,000 kids represent all of the children under the age of 5 in Gaza. There are 52,000 pregnant women who are huddled into 8 birthing centers who have to give birth to their children and who are at risk. Those children, after they are born, are at risk of malnourishment. There are over 1.9 million people in Gaza who have fled their homes. 1.9 million Palestinians. 1.5 million of them are crammed into 155 UN shelters, 4 times over capacity. That means hundreds of people wait in line to use a toilet. Hundreds of people wait to shower, if there is any water that's available to them. And we know that disease has already begun to ravage in these camps. Upper respiratory infections like the flu, diarrheal illnesses, meningitis, and only 10% of the kids in these shelters have received their childhood vaccines. So the World Health Organization has already warned us that so many people have died in Israeli airstrikes, but many more will die from death and disease. The difference being that this will be a slow and painful death. Tomorrow I plan to leave for Gaza with Med Global, a humanitarian NGO, and we plan to try to do our part. On the eve of the trip, I ask that Congressman Sean Caston, our governor, our mayor, and the United States government call for an immediate ceasefire and also allow unrestricted humanitarian aid to get in. Food, water, and medicine needs to get in to the Palestinians who are starving and who are sick and wounded. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Yasser Saeed, Y-A-S-S-E-R, last name S-A-I-D. I'm a pediatrician and internal medicine doctor. As a physician and as a pediatrician, I swore an oath to do no harm. And yet, every day in Gaza, 160 babies are born in tents where the cold January waters fall on the ground, with the help of my tax dollars, enabling Israel to put them there. Every 84 seconds in Gaza, a bomb explodes. An Israeli bomb explodes every 84 seconds. And every 10 minutes, a child is killed or crushed under the rubble. Every 5 minutes, a child is injured. And every 2 hours, a small body of a Palestinian child has 1 or 2 of their little legs amputated because of trauma from Israeli attacks. The Lancet is a medical journal, and they put out a number that in the first 3 weeks of this genocide, 11% of all the Palestinians killed by Israeli airstrikes were under the age of 5 years old. There was also an analysis that if you are Palestinian in Gaza, the most dangerous age for you to be is 5 years old, your highest chance of death. That was a month ago. By now, probably the newborns have caught up. The World Health Organization just put out a report a few days ago. For every child that has died in the past 3 weeks in Gaza, for every Palestinian child that has died, 25 more will die in the coming year. Children are rummaging through trash to find a wrapper to lick and eating grass. If we are who we say we are in America, this must stop now.
Thanks to all speakers. In lieu of a Q&A, a traditional Q&A, we're going to invite all of you to kind of break out with the families and do one-to-one interviews and conduct short one-to-one Q&As with them. In our space here, you feel free to use any of the rooms back here or the space here. Feel free to